apparel brand that provides fashionable and functional sportswear. We encourage you to always be active in your faith. How cool is that for a little slogan? You can follow them on Facebook at Active Faith. On Twitter, it's active_faith. Then, of course, it's the hashtag IJNIP, which is in Jesus' name I play. They also have the little quote in here. It says, or actually the verse, it says, and whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him. Colossians 3:17. How cool is that? Again, I'm going to be wearing the bands here all night tonight. Got the shirt on. On the back of the shirt, of course, the IJNIP is here on the sleeve for In Jesus' Name I Play, but it also has that down the back. I'd stand up and model it for you, but all you guys would see is my big bald spot. I don't want to do the company wrong that way. So Anthony Tolliver, Lanny Smith, thank you so much. Viewers, followers, you athletes that are strong with your Christian faith and not afraid to promote it. I know my nephew actually was Tebowing before Tebowing was popular. Colton, played high school football at the same school that I played high school football at in Indiana. He'd get down and pray on one knee before the game. So Colton, thinking of you, buddy. I think this is just a great thing. So I definitely wanted to give them a great shout out. And Anthony, thanks so much for sending these off here to us. Bob also has a wristband here going on. But also tonight, sometime during the show, I'm going to tell the viewers to call in. We're going to give you an Active Faith wristband, the In Jesus' Name I Play. Matter of fact, when the Golden State Warriors were playing in the first round, Bob, Steph Curry was wearing the Active Faith band. James Harden for the Houston Rockets, he had the band on. There's some NFL players that wear the bands. There's some Major League Baseball players that wear the bands during the games. What a great thing. So definitely want you guys to go onto their website, myactivefaith.com, and take a look at their products. I just love what they're doing. Also want to thank, again, our sponsors, the home, Brave Haven Studio, home of Coach Scott Fields' show. Bravehaven.com. Get a hold of Bob. Let him put together some keepsake video montages for you. Graduations are coming up. It's the wedding season. It could be retirements. They can put together all these photos and little quotes and stuff for you, put it to music, and be something that you can kind of loop during those ceremonies, whether it's an open house or a reception, and quality work. Also, you do some action photos, still photography work for people that would love some of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, Bob, kind of share with the listeners some of the things you do, because I don't think we plug and promote you and your quality work, but if you look at this set, it's first class. We're streaming globally because of your hard work, and this beautiful set is all put together with hours of sweat from you. So tell them a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a labor of love. I just enjoy doing it, and whether it's video production, post production, live production, advertisements for your business, commercials for your business. That we do all of those things. Weddings, video and photography for that.
Right.
We'll do corporate events and corporate type video work, and we're just getting into aerial videography and photography. So we'll have that available. The dreaded drones. Yeah,
love it.
We'll have that and have those up in the sky and be able to do different events, sporting events, and all kinds of things there, and give a different perspective and view. So
that is so cool, Bob. Again, you guys can get in touch with Bob here at Brave Haven Studios, bravehaven.com. Make sure you give Bob a look. Get on that website, surf around, see some of his past work, but I guarantee you will not be upset with it. It is high quality high quality stuff that he puts together and produces. You can also reach him on the phone, 801-738-8697. That will be the number you will call in later tonight when I give you a cue to give away these wristbands tonight. So be listening for that cue. Bob will pick up, take down your information, and we'll make sure we give you a little shout out for that. Also want to thank Salon Dante, 94 South And 7th East, Kim Fields, my wife, cuts, colors, styles, Brazilian blowouts, high quality hair extensions. Give Kim a call at Salon Dante, 801-572-8812. And also, for all your financial needs, get a hold of the professional, Nick Fitzgerald, MetLife. Nick Fitzgerald can be reached at 801-999-3773. Got a few shout-outs tonight, Bob. Our shout-outs went really well last week. People were very appreciative hearing their name on the broadcast. The first shout-out I want to give is to a special friend of ours, June Stennett, down in Pensacola, Florida, Bob. She's a big follower. She shares a lot of our content that we put out on Facebook. June is actually going through a battle right now with her cancer. She's going through breast cancer, the chemo. June, you keep fighting, hun. We love you. We're praying for you. We want you to stay strong. You're a true inspiration to what it is to be a fighter and keep your positive attitude and your faith and just the person that you are. So June Stennett in Pensacola, Florida, we say thank you for watching the show and thanks for being a supporter. Big shout out and I love you to that. Michael Mortensen out in Los Angeles. Want to give Michael a shout out there. He's been kind of watching the show on and off. So Michael, thank you for your support out there in Los Angeles, California. Coach Steve Kirk right here in Salt Lake City. He is a follower of the show and watches. He also is an AAU coach, Bob, that works with a lot of kids here. Matter of fact, my son, when I first met my son, was playing for the Dynasty basketball organization, and Coach Steve Kirk puts together a great program for these young kids, develop them, teaching them right and wrong, and does an outstanding job. Also, Don Sellers out in Sacramento, California. Coach Don, thank you for watching the show. We need to have you on as a guest real soon. Coach Sellers was actually coaching up in Canada this last year, Bob, and he and Craig Hodges, a former NBA guy that played for the Bulls, were head coach and assistant coach working together. Know that cliche, you don't teach an old dog new tricks, but you know what? If we could just get the guy to stand up, sit, I don't want to say play dead, because that's just not even cool, but are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for the guy, and I wish he would bow out gracefully, But again, now he's doing these public things and he's trying to fight it with lawyers. Do you really think there's a lawyer that's going to try to stand for him? Now, I do believe the conversation was private. And so for that part, I do think that there were, legalities that were wrongful doing there. So that part I feel for. But again, there's just a pattern there, and I feel sorry for him. I just feel bad for Donald Sterling. I put the poll question up earlier tonight, but I know the interview with Anderson Cooper just finished up here recently, and I know that's going to hit a pulse and a nerve with a lot of people. So if you're listening to the show, you're watching our show after you watch that, and you've been watching some playoffs, chime in, let us know what you think about it.
Yeah.
Some other things tonight. Bob, I've done some research this week. I put on my research cap, and I dug a little deeper in some things that are going on. I'm not just a superficial surface guy. 47 underclassmen declared for the NBA draft this year. 47 underclassmen. Now, listen, there's only 30 first-round picks. So you get 2 rounds of picks, which are going to be about 60 people. So 47 underclassmen, somebody has put in their ear that they think they're good enough to play in the league. And then you have 26 international players that have declared. That's 73 players who have declared for the draft when there's not even that many spots or draft picks available. I'm concerned for the guidance that these guys are getting, because you heard Pete Babcock. By the way, Pete, happy birthday to you, buddy. You're a former guest on the show. Hope you're having a blessed day today. He gave a few weeks ago. When you have 7 people who have putting their name into that, that's why I'm so concerned. There were 497 Division I transfers this past year.
Wow.
That's almost 500 kids that have committed to go to a school that get to a Division I program, and all of a sudden it just doesn't quite fit, or they're not getting to play as much as they think they want to play. So they're either going to blame the coach or, say that somebody else took their position or something was promised them that they... I hope that's just not entitlement and kids thinking that they're better than what they are and thinking they got to jump from school to school, because if they go from Division I to Division I, they got to sit out a year, Bob.
Right.
And it's kind of bad. And I feel bad for some of these kids that they rush into these decisions. I mean, we got a great kid from Alta High School who's going to come on our show later this evening, Trevor Hill, standout at Alta, who had a great career. I really enjoyed working with him. Stand-up guy, and we wish him the best. I'm excited to get him on to hear his perspective. But when you hear those numbers, you think, wow, is it really that bad? Because it makes you scratch your head and go, where are we going wrong as mentors, and where are we going wrong as people who should guide and lead these kids to make good decisions? And parents need to take an active role and help these kids make proper decisions. Are they just seeing the dollar signs and trying to exploit their sons to try to get into a level that maybe they're not quite prepared for? I'm just concerned about it. So I just wanted to raise it and share those numbers with our viewers, because it's a little bit troubling. Mike Brown, fired today, got the Ziggy from the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's the second time with the Cavaliers, probably the best player on the planet. And you know what? It doesn't mean you're a bad coach. It just means something else happened. Mark Jackson last week gets fired from Golden State. 3 years in a row, he gets them to the playoffs. 51 games they win this year. He gets fired. It's going to be interesting to see where Coach Jackson lands. I heard his name kind of circulating around here with the Utah Jazz because he was a former Jazz guy who played here. So great Christian man. We hope that he lands on his feet. Almost 14,000 hits with the Coach Scott Field show.
That's awesome.
14,000 hits.
In just a little over a month, about a month and a half now, and 14,000 hits and growing. And it's great. We love that when people follow us and follow the show and pass it along and share it with your friends. If you go back in the archives and you watch that on the CoachScottFields.com, you go to the archives page and you watch that. You can watch the Frank Layden interview.
Thurl Bailey. Keith Smart.
Yeah, I mean,
Pete Babcock.
It is week after week. There's just great insights and great information there. We've had some great prep players come and talk, and great NBA players and great NBA coaches and some scouts and some agents. And
that's right.
And it's just awesome.
Tonight, look what we're doing tonight. We're calling this the Vegas edition. A friend of mine who I've crossed paths with multiple times, Dan Lier, is going to be a guest on this show. I want to give the viewers a different insight. Dan is a motivational speaker. He's a best-selling author. He's going to come on with some different insights. He's a behavioral specialist, I guess, is what we can call him. And I don't want to misrepresent him. I wouldn't do him justice that way. I mean, he's been on the Today Show, he's been on the Howard Stern Show, and now he's bringing his talents to the Coach Scott Field Show. Dan Lier out of Las Vegas, Nevada is going to be on the show tonight, and I'm really excited to have him be a part of our show. As we mentioned, Alta High School standout, football, basketball player. Trevor Hill is going to be on the show tonight. Excited to have Trevor come on. I watched Trevor play last year at the Big Mountain Jam, and I reached out to him right away and said, hey, I'd love the opportunity to work with you and you be a part of our Dream Vision team that was under Thurl Bailey. And gosh, what a competitive kid, hard worker, just a fine young man who I know is going to have a great career. Evric Gray, again, that Las Vegas connection. Evric played for legendary coach Jerry Tarkanian at UNLV with the Runnin Rebels, and then also was with the New Jersey Nets for a short time before they, of course, they're now the Brooklyn Nets. Also had an international career, but he's also a very, very good person working with a lot of the youth here in the town and in the valley, who helps a lot of kids get scholarships. And we need to have good people like this on the show because he's a father himself. His kids are successful athletes, and he passed on that DNA and gene real well, and obviously his guidance has helped a lot. So we're excited to have Evric Gray on the show. Gosh, Bob, what else can we talk about kicking off the show before we get Dan on?
Well, boy, there's just been a lot of things going on, and and like you say, I've got that audio clip of Don Sterling.
Can we hit it?
So here we go. Let's take a listen.
Listen to this, you guys.
It'll
listen
loop
to
a couple of times, and later in the show we'll have a segment where hopefully you can call in and we'll get your feedback and we can get you some.
Ladies and gentlemen, the former owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, Donald Sterling, being Donald Sterling. Hit it, Bob.
Big Magic Johnson. What has he done? Well, he's a business person. He's got AIDS. Big Magic Johnson. What has he done? Well, he's a business person. He's got AIDS. Big Magic Johnson. What has he done? Well, he's a business person. He's got AIDS.
I mean, holy moly! Talk about stepping in cow pie and then taking your boot off and walking in it again.
Cow pie is between his toes.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, okay. First of all, I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical field. He doesn't have AIDS. It's HIV. He had HIV. Okay. Magic Johnson even talked about his unhealthy decisions that he made, and he talks about that. But for Donald to go on now and try to slander Magic in this way instead of just saying, you know what, I take full accountability for my actions. Quit trying to deter it and now throw it on Magic. Donald, my man, I hope and we pray that you bow out gracefully. Magic Johnson said it best in an interview during the games this weekend. Someone went up to him, interviewed him, and he says, hey, the league has definitely stand up and shown that he doesn't belong in the league. Everybody's in full support of it. All the owners have come together and supported that. Sponsors have backed out. It's just not going to work. And now his wife saying that she owns 50%. She wants to have I don't think the players are going to play for a Sterling owner, whether it be him. Now, again, one of our comments was tonight from one of our viewers, we shouldn't hold her accountable for her husband's actions. I get that. It wasn't her comments. She probably doesn't have that view. She may not think that way, but still, she's a Sterling. And with her being a Sterling, I think the association is negative for her and for the league, because how is she ever going to get out of that shadow?
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's too bad for her.
It's always going to be there.
It's too bad for her. I do hope that they, move expeditiously. They put a new ownership group together. The league actually hand-appointed a CEO to run the Clippers here, moving forward, since they've had this guy step down. But we just hope the best. So let's get back on a positive note. That's the poll question. Is Donald Sterling sincere for his apology? Now that some of you guys have seen this show, some of you have changed your views as you've seen the show and heard the clips. We'll run the clip again a little bit later, but please sound off and let us know what you're thinking. Also, later in the show, listen, please, for that call-in for free active faith bands. So the number to call, when we say call, is 801-738 8697. Good-looking orange bands, Active Faith, and In Jesus' Name I Play. We're giving those away tonight. So listen for that, and we're going to have callers call in for those free giveaways. Let's see if we can't get my buddy, Dan Lier, on the phone, and let's have him talk about him, his past, what he does. He's just a positive, motivating guy, and I am super excited to see if we can get Dan on the phone. So while you're trying to reach him on the phone there, Bob, we're going to keep talking about some positive things that are going on here with the Coach Scott Fields Show. Again, follow us on Twitter, Scott_Fields. You can go to the show, CoachScottFields.com. Look at the past shows on the archives. There's a guest book in there. Please take the time to sign the guest book. Let us know what you think about the show, where you're located, because we do have a national and international following, but also we're still putting together team lead and salespeople for the Coach Scott Fields Show. And we've got some great little brochures here we're going to be handing out with some prices and sponsorships. Bob's done a great job putting those things together.
Hi, Dan.
So super excited to get that going.
This is Bob Fitzgerald with the Coach Scott Fields Shows. I've got the coach on the line. We'd like to talk to you.
Yep. How are you?
All right. Good. Take it, Coach.
Dan Lier.
Hey, Scott. How are you?
I am well, buddy. How you doing, my man?
I'm on fire over here in Las Vegas.
I love it. I love it. Hey, I shared with the viewers just a few minutes ago prior to you coming on, we crossed paths at the NBA Summer League probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was there watching the Phoenix Suns team. Alvin Gentry was there. Terry Porter was there. You're good friends with a lot of these guys. But I could tell by your aura, your positivity, your passion. And a matter of fact, I think we even saw each other again here in Salt Lake City when Terry Porter was the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, and we sat next to each other in the stands, watching Coach Terry coach that Phoenix Suns team. Super excited to have you on. I know you're a busy guy. You're traveling. You travel nationally. You travel internationally. You're a best-selling author. You're a human behavioral expert, a motivational speaker who does an outstanding job. So for us to have someone of your caliber on the show, we're blessed and fortunate, and thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you for having me, Scott. I appreciate it.
Well, I can't wait to have people hear from you. While you're on the show, we have a photo of you and we have your website up, danlier.com. That's where we encourage everybody to go. Check out the website. Dan, tell us a little bit about you, your mission, your strategies for success, your true potential. Tell us all about those wonderful things that you've put together to help guide and lead individuals and empower people to be even better people.
Well, I'll do that. I'll tell you what I do now, and then, of course, we can get back to where it all started, of course, on the basketball floor.
Yeah.
So what I do now is I'm a human behavior expert, and I get hired by corporations around the world to come in and do customized keynote talks. So, for instance, you have a company like Sony or AT&T or Apple, and they might have a national sales meeting or a leadership meeting or some type of a corporate gathering, could be an awards, and so they typically hire a motivational type of speaker to come in and be a guest speaker and get them fired up or inspire them or whatnot. So that's what I do, and so it's kind of a misnomer, if you will, because anytime you speak in the corporate world, they tag you as a motivational speaker. Of course, that would make sense because they wouldn't want to hire a boring speaker or a demotivating speaker. Yet the reality is I'm a human behavior expert. I've worked with some of the best people in my industry in the world, people like Brian Tracy, Dennis Waitley, Og Mandino, Tony Robbins. And over the last 20 years, I've studied the most prolific psychologists in the history of our world, people like Freud, Watson, all the guys that really taught us, if you will, about human tendencies and behaviors. So when I'm going into a talk, I'm talking to the executive team or the sales group, and I'm customizing a talk, if you will, to help those people really understand how their mindset works and how to make changes to drive their behavior. Because, you can go in there and people tell great stories and you can do rah-rah stuff, but the reality is when they walk out of the room, they're still the same people. So what I do is I give people tools and strategies to change the way they look at things, to change their mindset, to help them make strides so they can be more productive. And I use these same strategies over the years, in the sporting world, where I went in and talked to people like the University of Miami, Cal Berkeley, Central Michigan, really all with their basketball teams, teaching them the same type of strategies I teach to corporate America, because in my mind, your 80% of your success has to do with your mindset. When you get to the college level as a basketball player, everybody's a good player, but how do you handle the challenges? How do you handle the upsets? How do you turn it around when you're at the free throw line shooting a 1-and-1, you're down by 2? What's going through your head? And so those are the things that's what I do, and that's what I work primarily in the corporate market and have the opportunity to do some speaking in the college basketball world as well. So it's been a fun journey for me, and of course I'm releasing CDs and books and whatnot, and just going around attempting to help people really reach their full potential.
Well, Dan, I love it. I mean, I know that you do an outstanding job. Like you said, you're a basketball guy. You're a former player. You had success as a player. You've coached for a while. So you can kind of put yourself in that mindset of what an athlete or a student athlete is going through that process and through that visualization. And I highly recommend our viewers and listeners, not only nationally but also internationally, to go onto your website, do their research, do their due diligence, bring you in, as you say, as a corporate speaker or with teams, and you can help them take their product, their brand, and take them to the next level, correct? I think we lost him.
I didn't hear what I missed what you said there. We kind of cut out for a second.
Okay, Dan, I'm sorry. What I was saying was, you're a former player, so you can kind of put yourself in that situation, whether it's visualization for free throws or, how to change the outlook. Say like a baseball player's in a hitting slump or something. You've got the tools and background to help those individuals or these major corporations take their brand to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody wants to be successful and everybody wants to achieve. And there's certain tools that some people, let's face it, it's a learned skill. It's easy to, in the corporate world and in the world that most people go to every day, it's easy to say, hey, have a winning attitude, or it's easy to say, overcome those obstacles. But those are learned skills. And so it's easy to have a winning attitude when you just got a big bonus, or it's easy to feel good when you just hit the winning shot.
Right.
But what are you doing when you're in a slump, or what are you doing when you're having challenges at work? And those are the things that I teach, and really how to shift the mindset. So, and like you said, those.
Buddy. Trev, how you doing, man? Hey, we've got other stools if Evric wants to come in and sit down also. Is he out there still? Hey, we got some other stools if you want to come in and have a seat, buddy. We are on live with Dan Lier of danlier.com on the Coach Scott Field Show here from Brave Haven Studios. And Dan, we just had a little commercial break, and you're sharing with the people, we're bringing you on because our whole mission with this show, Dan, is, I'm a professional coach myself who's between jobs, and I'm taking this opportunity through Brave Haven Studios to empower coaches, empower players, empower people with quality content and resources on how they can grow as individuals to be better and more successful. So we couldn't have a better fit than Dan Lier being on our show, because you do just that in the corporate world and with teams. And Dan, let's talk a little bit more about, you know, some of the experiences that you've had and some of the corporations that you've had an opportunity to speak for, and how you felt about those opportunities, you know, speaking globally to many different people around the nation and are globally, internationally with some of those experiences, my friend. Can you hear me, Dan?
I can now.
Okay.
There's, some kind of bad connection at sometimes. I can hear you right this second. Yeah.
Okay, buddy. No, hey, share with our viewers and our listeners, you know, what it's like to be in the position that you're in, to talk to these major corporations and empowering these leaders and business leaders and sales professionals to take their brand to the next level. What does that feel like?
Well, you know, it's a great feeling, but it's a result of a lot of hard work, like anything else. You know, it's easy to say that, hey, you know, you get to get up in the morning and go do a talk for corporate America, but there were years and years and years. I started out when I graduated from college. We won a couple national titles, and it was a fantastic experience. And of course, I didn't have the skills to go to the next level, and so, which most people don't. I mean, we've had the conversation about the NBA draft and about a lot of misguided youth, and yeah, there's a lot of guys who can go overseas and play for a while, but then my thought is when you come back at 30 years old and you have nothing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and ended up getting a job selling insurance, which I knew nothing about. And but I thought it would be an entree into the business world. And they introduced me to this author named Dennis Waitley, who wrote a book called The Psychology of Winning. And they were playing cassette tapes for us. And literally, I'd never heard anything like that before. And I was kind of into it. I was gravitating towards it. And then I went out and I got my license and I got trained, and I was out selling commercial insurance, which was really not what I thought I was going to be doing in my life. And I was doing fairly well. And I guess fairly well on a 0 to 10 scale, about a 6.5, if you will. And then one night, if you remember years ago, there was these infomercials that came out with a guy named Tony Robbins, and he used to be interviewed by Fran Tarkington. You remember that, Scott?
Of course, of course.
Yeah, and he was talking about personal power and all these tapes, and I was always curious to do it, but never did it. And so anyway, at that particular time in my life, I said, I'm going to do it. And I ordered these tapes off the infomercial for 3 easy payments of $69.95, and they got delivered to my door. And I remember that was a lot of money for me at the time, and I took those cassettes. These are back in the days when we had cassettes, and I had to sit by my stereo and press buttons and pause it. And so I made a commitment that I was going to take notes every day for 30 days on these tapes. And to make a long story short, I tripled my income that year, and I was the #1 performer in the region out of Atlanta, Georgia. And I bought a house and a car, and I had one of the first cell phones, and I was doing extraordinarily well as a result of changing my mindset and really feeding my mind for success. And so I ended up getting hired by Tony Robbins a couple of years later. And how I got my start in the speaking business is I was selling seminar tickets for him. So I would go into companies 2 and 3 times a day and do short presentations of 30 minutes as a guest speaker, with the sole intent of selling tickets for a seminar. So hypothetically, I would walk into a bank or a commercial, a mortgage company, or a car sales, you know, a car dealership, and everybody has sales meetings. And so I would be their guest speaker, and they might have 10 people in there, they might have 50, who knows. But I would do a 30-minute talk, and my goal would be to sell tickets to see Tony Robbins at a seminar, and it was 100% commission. So I had to connect with the audience, give them value, and then collect money. And most speakers, when you ask them how do they get to where they want to go, they would, you know, they say, oh, I do a few talks and I practice. And I was in a situation, and I think you can relate to it from a basketball perspective. You know, in the world of basketball, you're doing shell drills and you're doing the same thing every day to make sure you've got your defensive slides and your rotations down. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes and the better you get at it. It's like shooting layups. If you shoot 1,000 layups, pretty soon, you know, you can hit them when you get hit, and you can hit them when they're windy out, and you can gauge things. And so I was in a situation where I was giving 3 live talks a day for 6 years. So I did thousands and thousands of talks in a 6-year period, which is unheard of. So it was like shooting layups for me. So my skills got very high, And that's just like anything else. You know, when you're to be very good at what you do, you have to put in the time. And I was in an environment that I had to do that, and that was great for me. So, you know, at this point now, fast forward years and years later, I'm very fortunate to be able to go in and be the guest speaker and talk to these companies and really give people the tools they can use to raise their game and be better sales professionals, or be better executives, or be better mothers and better fathers. And it's a great feeling. As you know, as a coach, it feels good to help people develop, and it feels good to help people be inspired to be the best, and to feel like they have the belief system that they can be better. And so it's been a really fun journey for me.
Well, you know, Dan, it's awesome to hear you share those nuggets with our viewers, because I mean, if you think about it, you're a life coach. You're teaching people the skills, the skill sets, and how to have the repetition to change and transform their thoughts to be more powerful, more positive, to be a better salesman and believe in what they're selling. I think it's an awesome thing that you're doing. I know last week you were just in Indiana. You know, you and I were in contact about coming on the show. You know, the more that we kept in communication, I kept getting more and more excited about having you be a part of this show. So again, that, you know, we can help empower and transform individuals to have a better mindset and process to be better people.
Right. I mean, I think as I look back at my life, and as a player, I wish I had those skills back, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And well, the good news is those are all learned skills. But my message to your listeners out there is, no matter what you do, if you're a young basketball player, or you're a coach, or and you're out in the corporate world, is that you've got to search for information. There's so much information out there to be better communicators, to be better leaders, to be better basketball players, to be able to manage your mindset, to overcome setbacks. And that, to me, is really the key to success. I mean, if you've got, from my perspective, when I'm talking to college athletes, and you've got players, and the two players are virtually the same. As a coach, I'm going with the player who's able to manage his mindset down the stretch. I'm going with a player who is able to keep himself focused when the times are tough, and still play with confidence when he's missed a couple jump shots.
Yeah.
And that's a life skill. That's a life skill, Scott. That's not something that, you can all of a sudden you can be genetically blessed and have a 40-inch vertical. But if you're not able to keep your mindset together, and you're not able to understand, be disciplined when the game's on the line, or just follow the game plan, or make the right play, those are learned skills. And so, no matter, like I said, if you're an athlete, or you're a corporate America, or you're a leader, or a parent, all that information is out there. You really just have to commit to doing it. And I'll tell you one of the things that I did, and I like I said, if your listeners are out there, they really want some tools to succeed. One of the best things you can do is just really invest in yourself, and it doesn't cost any money. You can listen to YouTube videos. You can download things and put them on your iPod, and you can stream things. And rather than going to the gym and listening to music, which I love music and I do that as well, but when I'm in the car and I'm driving, I'm typically listening to something that's going to empower me. simple things, and I'm sure you've heard it before as an athlete, is called visualization. And there was a book written years and years ago by a guy named Matthew Maltz. It was called Psycho-Cybernetics, and he talked about what actually happened or not. So, for instance, all of us have had dreams that we woke up and we didn't know if it actually occurred or not. It was so real. So there's actually a strategy on how to visualize, and you can actually Google that and talk about it, and you can learn it. But the key is when you're seeing yourself perform. So prior to a game, you can do it though when you're walking, and you don't have to be locked in a trance. You can just do it while you're on the bus on the way to the game. But seeing yourself succeed, seeing yourself hit jump shots, seeing yourself be somebody up, but also being able to hear the crowd and smell the gymnasium and feel the leather on your skin and hear the crowd noise and hear the cheerleaders. The more real you can make your visualization, the more your body actually believes it. So, for example, when Andre Agassi won the Wimbledon, the reporters came up and said, "Andre, how does it feel to win the Wimbledon tournament?" And his response was, "Just like I imagined 1,000 times." And so we've all heard that before, but literally doing it. And so the strategy that I'd share with you is a strategy that I teach called the replay strategy. And so if you take, let's say you're working on your free throws, or you're working on an elbow jump shot or something like that. So if you take a short clip, like a 5-second clip of you coming off a pick and coming off that pick and shooting the jump shot with the elbow or something, and you play that clip in your head 5 times in a row, just a 5-second clip, and then another 5-second clip, and a 5-second clip. So you literally have done it 5 times in a row. And then you open your eyes, and then do it 5 more times. That's 10 times. And you do that once in the morning and once at night. And if you start doing the math on that, that's 20 times a day. That's 140 every week. So every week you're hitting 140 elbow jumpers with somebody in your face. And so your mindset is so accustomed to doing that. When you're in the game, it's just a sense of confidence, and it's a different feeling. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that does. That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, so really it's the repetition. I mean, you've heard all this stuff before, but it's about actually doing it, implementing it, doing it with a strategy. So taking something that you're working on and start visualizing yourself doing it over and over and over again, but doing it in a way that you'll actually do it. You know, some people say, yeah, I'm going to visualize myself for hours, but we don't really do that as human beings because it gets boring and then we don't want to do it again. So do something that's easy. Do 2 sets of 5 in the morning, 2 sets of 5 at night. That's 20 reps. I mean, you start doing the math on that over a course of a month. You know, you're hitting 600 jump shots in someone's face. And so pretty soon you get to be pretty good at that. And the other thing is just really to understand how to overcome adversity. Just really understand that the mindset of no matter how great you are as a player, you're going to have a turnover, you're going to miss an easy jump shot, you're going to let someone blow by you on accident. It happens. And so the key is really recovery. How do you recover from a bad play or a mistake and get back on your horse and still have the confidence that you need to be a great player? And so a lot of players I see, they get down on themselves quickly, and then, of course, that costs them another play. They don't get back on defense, and then pretty soon they're sitting on the bench, or they're still cussing themselves out in their mind because they made a mistake. Then they get to the free throw line, and they got their head down, and they miss a free throw. So it's really just understanding no matter how good you are as a player, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to miss shots, you're going to bounce the ball off your foot, and understanding how to put that behind you and step up and make the next play and getting back to the present. And again, that's a learned skill. And so
Did we lose him?
In here. We did.
Oh, Bob, he was given some great advice. That was Dan Lier from danlier.com. Best-selling author, motivational speaker. I don't know how we lost the signal, but man, that was some great stuff. Hey, let's go have a break here real quick, and we're going to get Trevor Hill from Alta High School, the gentleman who asked Dan that last question, right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. So let's go pay the bills here for a minute, my man. Nice. Good deal. All right, let's go. We are live with the Coach Scott Fields Show right here with Brave Haven. I want to sincerely apologize to our viewers. Somehow we lost our connection with Dan Lier, but what a class act, a professional guy teaching life skills to our viewers nationwide and nationally. You were able to ask him a question also. People can find Dan at danlier.com. We're into the prep session of the week, and honored to have Trevor Hill from Alta High School right here on the Coach Scott Fields Show. This portion of the show is brought to you by teamjmp.com. Teamjmp.com was a guest here a few weeks ago, John Madsen. He's got a strength and conditioning program not too far from up your way, and does a great job working with a lot of local athletes. I know he worked with a lot of athletes that were getting into the NFL draft this last week. Hope that they had success with that. So please go to teamjmp.com. Give John Madsen a look up as we welcome my man, Trevor Hill from Alta High School right here on the Coach Scott Fields Show. Trevor, I want to share a quick story about you. Before I was able to work with you, my son was playing at the Big Mountain Jam last year. They're at the Southtown Expo Center, and it must have been June, so about a year ago. Alta was playing against a school, and I just happened to stay because your game was on before my son was going to play, and I had not seen you play before. I've heard about you, and people would say, how you were a good player and this kind of stuff. I was just curious, so I sat and watched, and I walked away from that game. I was scratching my head. I said, this kid is competitive. He has heart. He goes hard. And I was like, I'd love to have the opportunity to work with him. So I started working the phones, trying to find out people who had your contact information, was able to get a hold of you through some friends, called you up, and I said, Trevor, wow, what a great game that you had at the Big Mountain Jam. Invited you to come play along with us with Dream Vision. You had some prior commitments. You had a camp that was going to go on at the University of Hawaii, I believe. But you were able to come play a couple tournaments with Dream Vision last year, which was Thurl Bailey's team, where we played in the Adidas Invitationals, Dallas, we played in Vegas, we played out in Indianapolis, Indiana. And what an asset you were to our team, because you're just so tough and competitive. I loved having the opportunity to work with you. Is your mom watching tonight?
Yeah, she is.
Mama, how you doing? Thanks for allowing Trevor out of the house tonight, letting him be a part of the Coach Scott Fields Show. We're thrilled to have you. Thanks so much for all your support, and your mom's great. Outstanding, outstanding. So you've had great support systems, huh, buddy?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Alta. You guys had a nice season this year. A standout player up there. You've had a nice career. You signed with Dixie.
Yes.
Take us through that process. You're a multi-star. You play football and basketball, and you're looking to play football and basketball at the next level, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So the first year I go down to Dixie, I think I'm just going to focus on basketball.
Okay.
And then maybe my sophomore year, I'll look to play both sports.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for you, and the Dixie community is fortunate to have you as a person on and off the court. First-class individual. You're very quiet. You just kind of handle your business. But when you step between those lines, you are a competitive man. We played against some of the nationally ranked teams in AAU. You were guarding players that were bigger than you. I'm not going to say more athletic or more heart. Now, bigger physically, playing against the bigger, faster, stronger athletes on the national scene, not just here in Utah, because it seems like so many Utah players play against each other day in, day out, in the summer, in the spring, in the winter, but you got to go against some new blood. What did those experiences teach you?
Well, it taught me there's a lot of different talent out there.
Yeah.
They're a lot quicker, so I just learned that I'm not going to be the fastest all the time, but I can work the hardest, and if I do that, it should lead me to good things.
I love it. Hey, you had an opportunity to come in and listen to Dan Lier, a best-selling author, motivational speaker, a gentleman who empowers individuals with life skills. What did you take away from Dan that maybe may help you? I mean, you asked him a great question, about how to prepare yourself for a game, but what were some things that you took from Dan just being in here for a few minutes before your segment came on tonight?
Outside of basketball, I would say I learned if I visualize and if I feed my mind and keep growing, the brain's more powerful than anything else. So
true.
if I keep feeding that, I'll be successful after basketball.
I have no doubt in my mind. I have no reservations, no hesitations that you're going to have a great career and you're going to do great things even after your college career. Gosh, you're originally from Texas.
Yeah.
Moved here to Utah. You've been around different cultures and playing at Alta High School. What's one of the biggest things that you're going to take from your experience playing at Alta High School going on to Dixie?
The coaching staff really pushed me to work hard.
Nice.
And I think I'm going to keep that trait and hopefully work harder down at Dixie.
I know you will. I was thrilled to have the opportunity to work with you for a few months. As we said, we got to go to Dallas together. You met us in a tournament for Vegas. After coming back from Hawaii, you went out and played with us in Indiana, which was some great teams. I was thrilled to have the opportunity to work with you and watch your development. But I saw your confidence grow. I saw you accepting the challenges, going against bigger, faster, stronger athletes. I've been blessed to have coached around the globe at high levels. Is there one thing that you can remember, any lessons that I taught you you're going to carry on as you go on to Dixie, that's something maybe I might have helped prepare you, even helped prepare you to go back for your senior year at Alta?
Yeah. In our last tournament, you told me that I was guarding the 6'7" kid pretty good out of California, and you told me don't back down.
Yeah.
If I can just keep that with me, I would say is the greatest thing that you taught me.
Well, good. Well, and you had no back down in you. I don't know if it was my words telling you that or if that was just your heart, but you're a great person. I mean, you and my son are still friends. You guys play some pickup stuff together. Yeah. He's excited. He wanted me to tell you congratulations. He's happy for you with going down to Dixie.
Thank you.
What are the things that you're hoping to do with basketball after your college days? Are you hoping maybe to play professionally? Maybe, I heard you say you want to play some football. Are you thinking maybe professionally in both sports, one sport? Where's your true passion at? Which sport do you like best? Because you're kind of like a Bo Jackson back in the day, multi-sports, What do you like the best?
Basketball is my favorite sport.
Okay.
Definitely. I grew up liking football more until high school, and then, I don't know. But after my college career, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe I go overseas or something. Who knows?
I could see that. You've got a skill set. You've got the tools. You're learning the mental aspects of it now. Yeah. So I got a feeling when you put all those things together, there is no ceiling effect for you, meaning that the sky's the limit. I don't see anything stopping you except you. And I wish you the best of luck. I know you're going to have a great career. Do you have any messages for the young fans who watch Trevor Hill that have gone to the Alta games for years and watched you play? What would you share with the young players out there who watch Trevor? What message could you give them to help them with their transition of being maybe a varsity starter in the coming years?
Yeah, I would say just work hard in the weight room and keep your grades up for sure.
Now, how are your grades? You getting it done in the classroom, huh?
Yeah, I do. I carry a 3.4, 3.5. So
nice.
Not bad.
That's so important, and it's a great message because at the next level, it's a student athlete, and emphasis on student. You're there to get a degree, to continue your education, to continue to grow. Are you wanting to get into business after the playing days are over? What do you see yourself doing once you hang up the sneaks, when all the playing days are over? Coaching, maybe? What are you going to do?
No, I think I'm going to stay away from coaching.
Is it too hard? It makes you go bald.
Yeah, a lot of stress with that.
Yeah, okay.
I want to be a pharmacist or a respiratory therapist.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, hey, as we get older and I get more arthritic, I can come to you and maybe you can hook me up with some medication to keep me out of the pain then, huh?
Definitely, for sure.
My brother-in-law is actually a pharmacist with Smith's Pharmacy. He graduated from the University of Utah, and he loves his job. He's one of the managers in the pharmaceutical field, so maybe you can come back and shadow with him a little bit to kind of segue into that career afterwards. But he's a great person. Matter of fact, he's also a follower of our show. So Hiram, want to say hello to you and appreciate you following the Coach Scott Field Show. Sounds like you're going to have Trevor Hill following in your footsteps, so maybe they'll see you up there at Smith's here real soon. Do you have any other messages that you want to share with anybody that how can fans follow you? I know you got a Twitter. You and I follow each other on Twitter. What is your Twitter handle?
Trev Hill 03.
Trev Hill 03.
Yeah.
So at Twitter, follow Trevor. Give him a shout out. Follow him. Great kid. Awesome individual. Going to be a success. And I'm thrilled that you're on the Coach Scott Field Show tonight.
Thank you for having me, Coach.
You got it, my man. Nothing but love. Sure. Hey, we're going to have a break. We're going to pay the bills, and we're going to have Evric Gray coming on to the Coach Scott Field Show right after this message. But again, teamjmp.com for your strength and conditioning. Get you bigger, get you faster, get you stronger, get you right. teamjmp.com. Holler at John Madsen. Buddy. Back with the Coach Scott Field Show. Hey, again, that last segment brought to you by TeamJMP.com. That's John Madsen, a strength and conditioning coach. Hey, now's the time. Give us a call at 801-738-8697. We got the Active Faith Bands, the In Jesus' Name I Play. And again, that's myactivefaith.com. So let's give the first caller who calls in at 801-738-8697 that free Active Faith band with the In Jesus' Name I Play. So we're hanging on tight for your phone call, and after this break we're going to have Evric Gray from UNLV and coach of Summit Academy right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. Righty. On the Coach Scott Field Show, we have my friend Evric Gray, former UNLV Rebel, right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. Evric, you and I, we go back a ways, buddy.
I was your assistant, man.
Wasn't that some fun time?
Back. I just got out of brain surgery and you hired me.
I honestly, before you came here tonight, I was sharing that story with our producer, Bob. Mm-hmm. We were putting together a CBA franchise here. Mm-hmm. You did. You had just come off of a brain surgery.
You teased me, too, because I couldn't text. Because I was like, just got out of brain surgery. But anyway.
Yeah, you weren't feeling well, huh? I mean,
I was recovering.
You were recovering. I think that's a good way of putting it. You were my assistant coach with the Utah Eagles that played in the CBA. Gosh, that was an experience with a minor league level here. And then you went from coach to a player as the ownership team changed.
Hold on. You got a tech, and I was a coach too. So you got two texts too. You got two texts, so I was coaching too.
Well, there you go. I like that. Let's talk a little bit about that, because that story, and I don't know if you let's play it for our viewers. You were my assistant coach, doing a great job developing the young players. We had John Millsap. We had Bryant Markson from the University of Utah. We had Mike Hall, a BYU graduate. We had Robert Griffin, who'd spent some time with the Detroit Pistons. We had Julius Nuwasu, who was with the Spurs with us. We had a good collection of guys.
Yeah.
The ownership group was a challenge.
Interesting.
We lost one owner. Another owner came in who owned two other teams in the league. And we had Harold the Show Arsenal from Weber State, who was famous for getting 34 points at Weber State versus North Carolina. They weren't paying per diem. They weren't paying our salaries. They weren't paying for a gym for us.
We're still winning.
We were still getting a couple W's. We go on the road to go up and play against the Butte Daredevils.
Remember that.
You put on a uniform and play for us. And again, this is a movie material. This is no kidding. You had brain surgery. You had done some practices. You kind of helped line up some practice facilities for us when we couldn't pay for practice facilities. You helped us get Westminster and stuff. Your knowledge, experience, and expertise and your veteran leadership on that floor helped us beat the Butte Daredevils on the road, when we actually kind of had a little sit out until they paid us per diem just so we could eat.
Well, Scott, here's the deal, though. Remember, they was like, well, why is he playing?
Yeah.
But, we needed help. So, they was like, I had to sign this whole contract, and it was in a bathroom, in a stall. But it was good times. And like I said, I appreciate what you did. You got me into coaching, and I would never trade it. And I love coaching now because of you.
Well, it's very kind of you to say. I don't know if I believe you, because I think you had.
You better believe me, Scott. For real.
Well, hey, you've done some great things here in the Valley, and I don't think enough people give you praise and give some of these guys praise who work with the youth here in the Valley. You've helped a lot of young men obtain some scholarships just by playing with your AAU group, the Salt Lake Rebels. Share some of those success stories with our viewers, nationally and internationally, of some of these players that have, come through your program, how you've helped them, how you've helped guide them, and put them in a position to, get the exposure so they can get those scholarships. Share those.
Yeah, Scott, you know the deal. I don't have all the top guys, but the thing is that it's so hard to to try to get to the Utah teams, and like Utah, BYU. It's so many scholarships. So I have so many friends outside of Utah, and I try to help everyone. And my whole thing is to you got to realize that there's more schools outside of Utah that will give scholarships, and I'm trying to tell our parents that. And so that's the thing is that we have some good players that's in state. Of Dave Collette from Murray High School, and Austin Waddups, and some other kids that went to Westminster, and Westminster is going D2.
Yeah.
In a second. So we have some kids at Zach Hunter that's going to Dixie State with Trevor. And Trevor is a great kid. I love Trevor. I talk mess to him when we played against him. That's just me though.
Yeah. Well, you have some fun on the floor.
Right, I have fun, but it's just I love coaching kids. I love to give back to the kids, and any kid from any other program, I will help.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've done that. Matter of fact, my son has had the opportunity to come play for you, and I know you've helped him tenfold, and it's great for him to have other voices, have other guidance, to have other perspectives. The things that I've seen that you've helped my son with, you've helped him relax and let him know that it's okay to take a shot.
Yeah, I kick his butt if you don't shoot it. My whole thing is that if you don't shoot it, you come out of the game. My point guards, and you know that, Scott. Point guards and the big guy, you can win. So with B Sly, it's just that he's my coach on the floor, because I take all my point guards that could coach on the floor. And if he doesn't shoot it and make things happen, come sit next to me.
Yeah, you go be an assistant coach, huh?
Right.
I like it. I like it. Well, you know what? You're also a father, like I am. You've got a couple children that are successful in their own right. Share that, the success that they have, the sports that they've chosen, and the things that they're accomplishing right now. I mean, it's awesome to sit back and watch.
I have 2 daughters at BYU. Alexa Gray is a volleyball player. It's my baby girl. Love her to death. With her today, trying to work on her jumper. She might walk on.
Oh, wow.
At BYU.
Nice.
She can hoop. She's 6'3". She's a guard. But she'll tell you, Scott, I don't post up.
Yeah.
But she's a volleyball player at BYU. She's a very good. And then I have my oldest daughter, Jordan Gray, that's a rugby player for the U.S. team because she was born in Vegas. And she's a very talented rugby player at BYU, and love him. The reason why I got into coaching boys because I don't have any sons.
Yeah.
I have 2 girls.
Yeah.
So I love coaching boys, but I have about 122 boys. There's my sons.
That's right.
But my 2 girls are great and very good athletes. The rugby girl, it's my fault that she's a rugby player, Scott. Because I should tackle her and punch her in the head. Don't call child services, Scott. But
get DCFS on the line, Bob.
Hey, Bob, don't do that, player. But it was I'm proud of my kids and my rugby girl, my rugby daughter. She lost in the Elite 8 to Stanford up in Palo Alto, but it was great to see them play.
Yeah.
And I love my daughters.
Well, the acorn didn't fall far from the tree.
They get it from their mom.
Oh yeah.
Their mom was a very good athlete, and she passed away about 5 years ago in a car accident. But she was a very good athlete at Southern Utah. She was a Division I basketball player, and I give all the credit to her.
Well, it's humbling of you to say that, and that's sorry for your loss. I know that had to be a tough time and adjustment, but to see the success that your girls are having, super happy and proud of you for that. So, real quick, let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back with Coach Evric Gray right here on the Coach Scott Field Show.
Hey, Bob. What the hell?
Know that it's even more fevered now. Donald Sterling, the owner of the LA Clippers, comes on and, of course, was privately recorded having a conversation with his girlfriend with some very racial comments.
Right.
Unbelievable. Bob and I have talked about it for a couple weeks. Our poll question today is, he's supposed to go on Anderson Cooper's show tonight, and he's supposed to have this sincere apology. And the guy opens up and says even more ridiculous stuff. And I think Bob might even have a loop of that. But what is your take when you hear people talk about Donald Sterling and the racist comments that he had? I mean, there's been a pattern there for years. I mean, here he is, an owner of the LA Clippers. What do you think about that? Keep it clean. Keep it PG. But
keep it PG.
Yeah, share your thoughts on it.
The thing is that with Sterling, I grew up in LA. Inner city LA. So my sister went in on him on Facebook, and then she finally told me that we lived in one of his complexes.
Wow.
So with Sterling, Scott, I was doing the deal with one of my buddies. It's like I've been with 20 different NBA teams, either 10 days or training camp overseas.
Yeah.
And we all knew about Donald, and it finally came to light. Now, I think with Donald is he felt what he meant, and I don't agree with it.
Yeah, it's
about time. The problem I have was with his wife. The wife is interesting, but the thing is that with Sterling is he is what he is, and he did he does. People don't realize what he did in the league with like telling people that we're gonna fire you for 3 months. Why it's a break in between the season and we'll hire you, and I don't believe, I really believe that he's a racist, but that's just my opinion.
Do you think
I can't really say, Scott, what I want to say. We on TV and all that good stuff, but it's just that he believes what he thinks, and what he said with V is the crazy part. I've been around V, but what he said to V is he meant what he said. Now my whole thing is that Scott, he was like, everybody needs a second chance. I'm like, you already had like 10 chances.
Exactly. There's a pattern there. Do you think there's any place in the league in an ownership level for that, for the league, the brand, for what he's supposed to stand for? I mean, what do you think?
No, and good. Scott, you know, and I know, and we all have this pretty much the same friends in the league. Yeah. And if he's still the owner or anybody, his cousin, Kwame Sterling, I don't know who it is. There's gonna be some issues with the whole league. Yeah. And we talked about that today. And I can't tell you who I talked to, but it was some current NBA players that we played today, because you know I still play. And we talked about it. And it's like, if he don't step down and sell the franchise, there's going to be some issues league-wide.
Right. Well, look at sponsors are already backing out.
20 of them.
Yeah, gone, done. Money gone. Players don't want to play for him. His wife says, "Hey, I got 50% stand." That's not going to work. Even if they give the league or the team to his wife, that's not going to work because she's still a Sterling.
Scott, well, the issue too is when they start taking money out of with the sponsors taking money out of the players' pocket, that's an issue. Like with the Kia backed out. Now Kia's with Blake, and then State Farm backed out, and they're going to start pulling his
Chris
stuff.
Paul,
and that's the issue. And even though we know that LeBron gave Chris that deal, if you don't know that, but that's what happened. And the thing is that Chris is giving it to Steph, and so that's the issue with the league. And Sprint pulled out. Sprint does. That's a big deal, but those sponsors start pulling out. That's an issue.
Yes, it is. Well, I like how, and Sean Rooks last week came on and he he eloquently said.
I grew up with Rooks.
Yeah, Sean, that's my guy. You know, he eloquently said he liked how the players banded together and supported each other, and as a union went to Kevin Johnson, and they put pressure on the league also from a player standpoint. That they weren't standing for it and they were united, and I think that's refreshing to hear.
But that's the thing is I've been with 20 teams, so I know Kevin.
Yeah,
I was with Kevin with Phoenix. So the thing is that Rooksy, that he's a friend of mine, so we grew up in the same area. But the thing is that with I'm curious to see what's going to happen at the end, because I think everybody might strike, and they all together. When LeBron and Mike step out, it's a wrap.
Yeah, that's you can't have bigger hitters than that,
Right.
And I mean, Michael has come out and has said his words, what he thought, and
he doesn't.
Yeah, he don't.
He like Tiger Woods. He don't.
Yeah.
Bob, anyway, Bob knows, but Tiger Woods, he don't really talk about anything. But when Mike step out and say something.
Yeah, it's coming. He's coming he's come with some thunder. Let's be honest.
Don't say thunder. I don't like thunder.
Well, let's talk about you got to play at UNLV. You played with the legendary Coach Tarkanian, a legend, a winner. I mean, he won at Long Beach. He won at UNLV. It's a shame that the NCAA kept him under a microscope for so many years. The players had to be under the microscope. But talk about Coach Tark, the person. What was it like to play for Coach Tarkanian?
Tark was the coolest coach ever. He gave you freedom when you played, and Scott, when I let your son play with us, I mean, that's where I get that from.
That's right.
Freedom. I mean, it's okay to miss a shot. He's always like, "Oh, did you try to miss it? Yeah. Who cares if you miss it?"
Yeah.
And so I love the guy forever. He recruited me late. I was with the Georgetown, but he recruited me late, and everybody is loyal to Coach Tark.
They are.
But
for a reason. He looked out and took care of a lot of people. He nurtured a lot of people. Exactly. And he's kind of had some health issues recently. And
he's in the hospital. He had a heart attack. Nobody really knows that. Yeah. He had a heart attack about a month ago, a mild heart attack, when I was down in Vegas with one of my AAU teams. So I couldn't really see him because he was in ICU, but he's better now. He's getting better, but he's 89 years old.
Right.
And I've hung out with him a little bit. I'm surprised even. Anyway, but he's a very all the guys are loyal to him.
You bet.
I love him, and I played for him for 3 years, and 1 year was at Massimino, but those years with UNLV was the greatest years ever. And I was in Boise, Idaho this week. Sorry, Scott, get off the.
No.
People was like, what happened in that game? You know what game we're talking about. I was like, they beat us. Duke beat us. And every time I go somewhere, somebody had noticed me and be like, hey, what happened? I'm like, at this point, I'm just like, they had more points.
They can't let it go, huh?
Can't let it go. And it's just, it's so weird that after 25 years, they still talking about that. And the good thing about it, too, Scott, is that Grant Hill hit me up and was like, well, we're going to do a Duke and UNLV game maybe in Madison Square Garden, and we're going to bring everybody in together.
That's
so
awesome.
I still talk to Grant Hill and Thomas Hill and Bobby Hurley and Leitner, and we all still together. We still talk a little bit about that whole little era for 24 months.
Well, how did Coach Tarkanian impact your life now that you're coaching? I mean, you talked about how, you've carried some of that philosophy. You want the guys to play more open and be free and relaxed. But what types of things did he teach you on the court and off the court that's kind of helped mold who Coach Evric Gray is today?
Well, off the court, Scott, is like loyal. Being loyal to your teammates and your family, and just being loyal to. On the floor, he always was like, you don't have to like Scott Fields. Just pass it to him when he's open. You don't have to hang out. He always like, you don't have to go to dinner with him.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to a show with him, whatever. That's Vegas. But, just pass the ball to him, and then you can go your separate ways. Like, when I did my first NBA camp, I was in Seattle. And Gary Payton was like, oh, you came to the NBA. It's like a pay cut. I'm like, no, it wasn't like that, player. It wasn't like that. But it was, he taught me how to embrace every lifestyle background. I'm from Hermosa Beach, California. And then you have some guy from D.C., inner city D.C., and then you get there, they're just like, what's going on? What are you talking about? You speak perfect English. I don't know. But anyway, it was good times, and I learned how to adapt to different what I want to say, different egos and different personalities, and it was great in my coaching now, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that you've had those experiences, and I'll ask you one more question before we go to another quick break. What was it like to have the NCAA have you under a microscope every day, every minute, just waiting for somebody to mess up so they could get at Shark? Because it was vindictive how they went after him all the time. Did it obviously added more pressure, and you always had to watch what you say, what you did, how you did it. What was that like as a young 20-year-old, 21-year-old playing to have that type of pressure on you? That's
Scott,
tough.
Let me explain something to you, Scott. And not too many people know this. So the FBI used to follow us. And so I get called in, and my parents we're middle class, so, and they were like, whose car is this? And it's like, it's my car. So it's pictures of me getting out of my car, going to my house. Like, I can't, we're on. I said, who's taking pictures of me? So that's the deal with the NCAA, and they follow us around and take pictures and pull us. Like my redshirt year, we won the Final Four. They pull people off the plane. Stacy, you can't play in this tournament. Greg, you can't play in this tournament. Larry Johnson, you can't play in this tournament.
Wow.
And it was interesting those couple years. And Scott, that when you do the AAU stuff, NCAA is taking over AAU. So you have to do this background check. And so when you call them, they're like, is this the Evric Gray from UNLV?
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't like you guys. So run my name through real ASAP, okay? But it's interesting with the NCAA. If I can tell you all the stuff, but we got called in every time. Whose car is this? Where'd you get this meal? Did you pay?
Wow.
And people taking pictures, and it was interesting.
Wow, that's got to be tough. But, hey, we're going to go to a break here real quick, and we're going to come right back with Coach Evric Gray right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. We are back with the Coach Scott Field Show, and we got Coach Evric Gray right here on with us tonight, and talking about a lot of things. Talking about Coach Tarkanian, the loyalty, the things that he taught you on and off the court. You know, we already talked about Donald Sterling being the Clippers owner. Let's talk about high school basketball here in the state of Utah. And this is going to be passionate, but we had a poll question about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. We talked about, should a shot clock be instituted in high school basketball? What are your feelings on that? How do you think that's going to help the players develop and prepare them and for the transition for their next level? Speak on it. What do you think? I mean, you coach at the high school level here.
Yeah.
Do you see that being something positive and productive for high school basketball nationwide and in the state of Utah?
Well, I'm from California, so we had a shot clock. So I would love to have a shot clock, but the thing is that I have so many friends, Coach, that will love to come here and recruit, but they just don't like the basketball here.
Yeah.
I think that putting pressure on some of these coaches to change their philosophy on coaching will be huge if you get a 35-second shot clock. You just can't sit there and hold the ball.
Yeah.
I would love a shot clock here, and then you get more coaches outside of Utah.
There you go.
With my AAU program, Scott, I don't mess with politics and of religion.
Yeah.
But I get the deal here with some kids that don't do this and that. There's so many scholarships in Utah. I don't have all the best kids, but I have kids that can play outside of Utah. I have kids turn down $200,000 scholarships because they don't want to leave the state of Utah. But the thing is that with a shot clock, I think it will make teams better. Not playing, but teams, but players better. And I think it'll make coaches better. And with me at Summit Academy High School, first shot up, you got the shot. We like to shoot under 10 seconds. We're going to get it up and shoot it. That's why we play, and that's just what it is.
Well, look at the success that Coach Mike D'Antoni had with the Phoenix Suns when Steve Nash was his point guard, shooting in 8 seconds or less. I mean, pass, boom, get it up before the defense can get set up and do what they want to do. But I think you hit on a great point that there would be more scholarship opportunities for these kids to learn how to play the right way, and at least AAU basketball gives them that venue and that vehicle to play in that type of system, because coaches aren't coming to Utah to recruit these kids because they do play such an old-fashioned school dinosaur kind of basketball.
Well, I'm a big fan of Quincy Lewis at Long Peak.
Yeah.
And with him, the way he plays, the things that some of these kids and some of these coaches, in Utah, they don't even like AU basketball.
Yeah.
And I was just given another opportunity and another venue, another skill to play. But Quincy at Lone Peak, thank God for him. If you're listening, I like you because I like the way you play. I like the guy from Wasatch Academy. I love Geno Morgan, the way he plays. But Quincy put everybody on the map. Like, I get so many emails from, how do you play? Do you play like Long Peak? Yes, we get up and down and shoot. I hate to say it this way, Scott, but they're always like, my boys back home in L.A. and Vegas, Lone Peak got the coldest white boys ever.
Yeah.
And they can shoot and play, and they let them play, and they got freedom.
Yeah.
And that's the way we play. And when I go down and we go to Vegas, or we travel, wherever we go, it's like, hey, you coaching all these kids from Utah?
Yeah.
It's like, this is what it is. So
Yeah.
You know how it works, but
right, exactly. But hey, the shot clock is needed. Let's just be honest.
I love the shot clock. I would love a shot clock, Coach Phils.
Well, I hope the UHSAA, enough people get behind it, because there were even strategies with, I think maybe it was a 2A school down in that held the ball the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was, I can tell you, Gunnison.
Yeah.
No, that was South Severe against Wasatch.
That's right. They held the ball against Wasatch Academy.
For 8 minutes and 27 seconds.
Wow.
And then tried to shoot it.
Yeah. And they were down 20, weren't they? Weren't they down like 22 and just kind of slowed?
Actually, they were okay playing, consider who they were.
Yeah.
And, Gino called me about that, and he was like, dude, they held the ball. I'm like, yeah, it's the back to the basket game, Scott. But nobody's really playing that anymore, so I get that part. But I want kids to be full-time basketball players. If you're going to be a basketball player, play full-time. You can't be a part-time hooper. That's what I call it, a part-time hooper. Like I always, if you're gonna put the work in, put the work in. There are kids at the high level. Those kids go to BYU. Local kids go to BYU. The Haws, all those kids from Long Peak, and I'm starting to get some of those Long Peak kids. But it's just like be a full-time hooper. Don't be a part-time hooper. And it's always good to go to school and Scott, I always tell my parents, I don't mess with politics and religion. But it's okay to put the extra work in, and when you're not practicing with your AAU team, put the extra work in.
Yeah.
With whoever you need. Maybe Scott Phillips. He's a great guy, and you made us run a lot, but that was okay. I wasn't running that much, but good times.
Well, you hit on one thing. You don't see a lot of players with, especially the fives. You don't see them playing with, like you say, they're back to the basket. The footwork with those players aren't very good. Like you said, Utah has some shooters, so the mechanics and some of the mechanics still need tweak because they're not perfect looking jump shots. There's stuff that can be fine-tuned there. But even with the guards, 1-2 dribble pull-ups, getting to your comfort spot, getting to the elbows, the floaters. There's a lot of skill sets and fundamentals that still need to be taught and need that repetition to add to their skill set so that way they can have a go-to move, an asset move going to the next level. But what about that counter move from when your go-to move gets stopped once you get deeper into the playoffs? Because those teams are going to key on you, and you have to have that counter move. These kids need to know that and understand that because everybody thinks offensively. Now think about the Dennis Rodmans, the defensive players, the Tyrone Lewis, the guys who had careers because they could do just that. There are other jobs that you can get out there. You don't have to be a 20-point scorer, but you can be a great role player. Talk on that.
Coach, I tell my kids all the time, we can't have everybody average 40.
Yeah.
We can't.
Right.
And so just make the correct play. If you're going to be a shot blocker, I know a lot of friends make millions of dollars blocking shots and rebounds. And so you get a scholarship.
Yeah.
You get a scholarship by doing that. I'm not talking about on the next level, but you can go to school, get a degree by being a shot blocker, taking the ball out fast, rebounding, and being a good teammate. And that's what I tell our kids. Like our kids, Scott, I don't have all the top kids in Utah. I have D2 guys. I wouldn't trade them.
Right.
They're crazy, but I like them.
Yeah.
But it's just you got to find your niche on your team. And if you're going to be the sixth man, be the sixth man. You have issues with, I'm not starting. I'm like, well, you played starter minutes. What does that mean? I'm like, are you in the fourth quarter? Yeah. That's starter minutes. I trust you.
Yeah.
So most kids don't get that, and most parents don't get that.
Yeah.
They just like, I want little Corey to play. But it's just, you just find your role because everybody can't average 40 points.
That's right. And to understand that role, accept it, embrace it, and be the best at it. Look at Crawford with the Clippers. 6th man of the year, but this guy comes in.
5 different teams. That's
wow. That's what I'm saying. But
we won't talk about that.
He comes in consistently and lights it up and can play, but he's embraced that role and made a career of it,
Right.
So, there's a lot of entitlement with players in the young kids today. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about socks. Let's talk about wearing socks, though. No, for real, Scott, I'd be like, hey, Coach, I can't play. I don't have my elite socks. I'm like, I played in Walmart socks. But some of these kids is comedy. Bob, you had elite socks?
No, I don't.
All right, good times. So that's my whole thing is like, I'm like, stop worrying about what you look like.
Yeah.
Just play, I love it, man. And entitlement, and it's, I should do this, I should do that, and it's
everybody thinks they're owed something, huh? Instead of going out and working for it.
Elite socks. I don't know. Stop wearing your elite socks, viewer. Stop wearing your elite socks. Not when you're playing basketball. Stop that. Anyway, but yeah, some kids are.
Sad part is I don't even know what those are.
You probably got about 10 pairs, Bob. But my whole thing is like, you know, some kids are entitled, and I try to. When we get an entitled kid, I love entitled kids because I break them down to the core. I go Bob Knight on them. And you already know about that.
Yeah,
so,
I'm from Indiana.
Yeah, I know.
I'm one of them
So
Hoosiers.
we break them down all the way to the bottom. Who cares about what socks and shoes you wear? So I hate cool guys, and you know that, Scott. Just play your game, and I hate cool guys.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, let's take another quick break to go pay the bills, and we're going to come right back on with an ever-candid Coach Evric Gray right here on the Coach Scott Field Show. Let's go pay the bills, Bob.
Broad shoulders there.
We're back.
You're back.
It's the Coach Scott Field Show with the ever-candid,
Oh boy,
Coach Evric Gray, my friend. Appreciate you coming on the show. I know there's a lot of places you could be. You're a busy guy. You up in Boise last weekend with a group of guys. When's your next tournament?
We go to Vegas Memorial Weekend.
Nice, and that's coming up right around the corner. So
Right.
I wish you guys the best of luck down there. I love the fact that you're getting these kids exposure and allowing them an opportunity to play on a higher level to help prepare them and allow them to gain confidence
Right.
coming back to their high school teams. But want to talk about, I did some research before the show tonight. 497 Division I transfers this past year. Transferred from a Division I school either to a junior college or to another Division I or to a Division II school. Why do you think that number is so high? 497 players transferred from their Division I school this past year.
Well, my whole thing with that is, you know, my daughter goes to BYU, and she dates Anson Weiner. And so I'm in that mix with Carlino, but I don't have a problem with it because when you graduate, they give you like a pat on the back. If you graduate, you can transfer and be eligible right away, which is okay. I want all our youth to get their degree, but you know it comes down to parents and friends and social media. I'm not playing that much, and just like with Utah, lost 3 guys this year, and I don't mind it if you transfer. You transfer. Like at UNLV, I talked to Coach Rice, and we had some kids transfer. Caden Reinhardt, a couple other kids. Mike Mosier went to Oregon, and he was just like, all right, well, he graduated. So, I mean, you have to give him some type of credit for graduating, Coach. So
Got to.
Yeah, I don't mind that as long as, you know, most kids, most African-American kids, they don't graduate from college. If they graduate, let them go ahead and transfer. I don't mind that. So it was great for kids to get a degree. And you know, degrees is like $200,000 for 4 years, and people don't realize that. So, they get their paper. I'm all for it.
Well, what do you think about that other topic? You know, talk about the degrees and the cost of schooling in these scholarships. Should the student athletes start to get a stipend for their?
Why are you asking me this, Scott?
I
made a lot of money for the UNLV, and I didn't get crap for it. But yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, when I was in school, somebody in higher education told me that the money you guys paid for football and softball and baseball. And
to keep those programs active.
Keep them going. Yeah, and paying coaches. And so I was like, all right, whatever. I'm at the school. They're giving me an education, but I'm all for it. They should be paid. and especially in the SEC is like the NFL too.
Right. Hey, you bet.
Yeah, how many kids they had? 59 kids get drafted in the draft, and I'm all for it. They're making all this money. I'm like, the big house in Michigan sits $100,000, and UNLV, even UNLV bring people in, and they're one of the only schools that sell alcohol on campus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where's that money go?
Right. Yeah, somebody's
Scott,
pockets.
It's probably going in your pocket, Scott.
You see my car out there. It's not that
the
fancy.
Bentley?
I don't have a Bentley, fellas. Coaching changes. Coach Mark Jackson loses his job.
I'm friends with Mark.
51 wins this year. Playoffs the last few years. Loses his job. Do you think a name like that may surface here with the Utah Jazz? He's a former Utah Jazz guy.
Scott, we know the same people, so you know that we know some people. I heard Mark. I heard. I even heard Steve Kerr. Even coming here, I heard. I can't tell you my sources, but I heard the ex-Seattle coach and Denver coach,
George Karl.
Coach
Karl, great guy, another winner.
He would be great with young players.
You got Coach Karl, who was a
Lionel
Hollins.
Mm-hmm.
His name keeps resurfacing.
Mm-hmm.
With Van Gundy's.
He's in Vegas too.
Yeah, you got Van Gundy, whose name
Which
keeps
one?
resurfacing. Well, both, either. Jeff.
I would take Jeff. Jeff's comedy.
Yeah, Jeff's good.
I don't know about
Jeff does a good job. But there are some great coaches out there. I mean, even a buddy of mine, Keith Smart.
Keith I love Keith.
And
I played with Keith.
Keith's a great guy. He was on our show a month ago and just did a great job. Quality person.
What about what's the name? He just got fired about an hour ago.
Coach Brown.
Coach Brown. He's a great guy too.
I don't understand that move by the Cavaliers. They brought him in for the second time, and it's too bad. You know they're going to land on their feet soon.
I think
it's just bad.
I don't know. I just think that I mean, I love Ty Corbin. He's a great guy. I work his kid out sometimes here and there, but Jeff did a great job. You think Jeff does? Jeff Hornacek.
We talked about that here.
And would he leave Phoenix? No, I know Jeff. He won't want to leave Phoenix. The weather's too nice. But there's some good young coaches out there. Brian Shaw. I would love to see Brian Shaw here. Maybe Byron Scott. People don't realize Byron Scott is from Ogden. Do you know that, Scott?
No, I do now.
Yeah, he's from Ogden. He's from Ogden, Utah.
Hey, great guy. Winner. New Orleans win. New Jersey win. I mean,
you need somebody with some that's good with young players.
You do, because they got such a young core here. You got Trey Burke here. You still got Gordon, who's young. You got Derek Favors, who's still young. So I mean, I thought Coach Corbin, under the circumstance, did a nice job. He's going to land on his feet and be somewhere. I've even heard Coach Sloan's name come up, saying that they were talking with him about going out to Golden State. His name has surfaced.
Where?
For Golden State.
You sure?
I read it today. Well, I might be. No, his name came up. I saw it on the Bleacher Report.
You got a fever?
No, I'm all right.
You all right?
Yeah.
I don't think Jerry. I don't think he wants to get back into coaching. I think he likes what he has here. But I would like them to hire someone. ASAP. I do the security for the Jazz, so I would love to see him hire someone. But I think they should go young. Grow somebody young to go with the team. So
there you go. Nice. Appreciate your insights. Appreciate your candidness. Love the fact that you're passionate about what you do. You do a great job, Coach, with these young kids and providing them opportunities. I know there's kids that don't even get to play with your programs who call you, and you still look out for these kids, whoever reaches out to you. To provide opportunities for them to get to the next level and, use basketball as a tool to get that education. And, that's what it's all about, empowering these kids. And you do a great job, my friend, and I want you to continue. And, if there's anything that I can do to help, I thank the world of you. I love what you do with the kids, so just keep it up, my man.
Thank you, Coach.
Well, do you have any last words that you want to share with the viewers as we sign off here? And had a great show tonight, but love you being on it. But what nugget would you leave with the viewers? as we sign off?
Well, I would just, I would suggest that it's in the state of Utah, there are schools outside of Utah that will love to give your kid money to go to school, and I will help your kid get into school.
Yeah.
And it's more schools than outside of it. It's, I don't know, it's like 300,000 schools that will pay for your education. So I will help. And I don't want anything. Normally, I just ask for some sushi. I love sushi. So, me and Bob, I'll take Bob to sushi with me. All right?
Well, there you go. Everybody, we appreciate you watching the Coach Scott Field Show tonight. We're going to be back next Monday at 7:30, and we're going to have another great quality lineup. And Evric even has a few friends that he said would love to come being a part of this show. Look forward to that as well. Wish you the best of luck at Summit. You're building a great program down there, my friend. Keep on doing what you're doing. God bless you, and thanks for your time tonight, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. See you next Monday night on the Coach Scott Field Show right here from Brave Haven Studios, Salt Lake City, Utah. God bless you all, and we'll see you next week.
That's exactly what it is, too.